Everyone is speaking out about this as there has been a lot of trade discourse surrounding the New York Jets recently in regards to one of their biggest star players. And this has been going on for a little bit now as there have been comments backing this up. Multiple other players of this position on the Jets roster who the Jets love. And also now another player, a free agent, rumored to be replacing this Jets star, Breece Hall, in trade conversations. And we are going to discuss all of this, guys. So a lot to talk about. What's up? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here, and we're going to jump right into things as always. And guys, I know we ask it every video. I get it. It gets annoying to hear about, but guys, make sure to subscribe to Jets Digest. It really does help us out a ton. It gets us on that homepage, that For You page, and it really does help us as we're grinding every single day for New York Jets videos. It's not always the easiest at this time of year to find Jets topics, but that is not going to slow us down at all. You will still get your daily Jets content at Jets Digest every single day. But Matt, there's been a lot of trade discourse recently in regards to Breece Hall. Now, this is not the first time this offseason we've heard about this. There was some talk earlier about Breece Hall potentially being traded. Obviously, he doesn't have the most time left on his contract, as well as the fact that you look at Breece Hall, you look at the Jets, and there was a decision the Jets made to sort of move away from that bell cow running back idea, and Aaron Glenn spoke on it. Breece Hall obviously had the reaction with a monkey looking upset, smoking a cigarette. And just to quickly go over this Aaron Glenn quote, this is sort of what started it all in its own way. Glenn said, I think mentally Hall is in a good place, but I would say that we have 3 running backs on this team that we're going to utilize as much as possible. They're all big men. They can run. They're violent. They're physical. So I think once we get a chance to get the players in and see exactly how they operate, I think every player is going to be happy with the way we go about this offense. And I think Breece is going to be one of them. Now, that quote began a lot of discourse, Matt, but it's not just that. There's been a lot of noise surrounding this, and Sports Illustrated's Conor Orr made a bunch of NFL predictions recently, and one of them was that the New York Jets will trade Breece Hall before the season opener. And what Orr had to say on this is effectively a handful of running back needy teams, the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Texans, and the Cowboys, will get through camp and search to upgrade that position, while the Jets will seek to pair Braylon Allen and Isaiah Thomas with a veteran still on the market who is looking to sign closer to the start of the regular season. Maybe Aaron Glenn's former player, Jamaal Williams, is an option for the New York Jets as well. So this obviously predicates off Breece Hall ending up getting traded, Matt. Something that it's obviously up in the air right now.
Yeah, people are overreacting to this. Breece Hall is a running back who has 1 year left on his contract. So, of course, there are going to be trade discussions. This happens with every single running back ever. So we saw it with Jonathan Taylor recently. It's going to happen with Breece Hall. He's obviously a good running back, but if they get the right price to move him, there is definitely a real solid chance that the New York Jets do go ahead and move Breece Hall when running a committee backfield, which is what most teams are shifting to now, which is running 3 running backs or even more running backs and all giving them a couple touches instead of giving one guy a ton of touches. When you do that, it doesn't financially make sense to pay your number 1 guy a lot of money, which Breece Hall is a running back deserving of a big contract extension, not record-breaking, obviously, but a big contract extension. And that doesn't really fit the committee running back, strategy. So it would make a lot of sense if they were going to trade him. I'm hoping that they don't trade him because I think he's a good running back who is very ready to have a bounce back season from what he did last year. We know he's a lot better than what we saw last year. His first 2 years in the league were extremely impressive, even though they were in the middle of them. He tore his ACL, still highly impressive. So Breece Hall obviously has a lot more to give than what he gave us last season. But you got to remember, this regime didn't draft Breece Hall. They don't have connections to Breece Hall. He is not, as good or as important as Gardner and Wilson or Jermaine Johnson because the running back position is the least important position on the team positionally needs-wise. But the way I'm looking at it, I am thankful that we are in a position with a roster that is deep enough at running back that if we do go ahead and trade Breece Hall, we can still feel confident in the guys we have with Isaiah Davis and Braylon Allen being our running back 2s and 3 for now. But if those guys were 1A, 1B, I really think Aaron Glenn could still run a successful offense with those 2 running backs. In terms of what we need to get draft capital-wise, probably no one's going to give up a second round pick for Breece Hall. If you were offered a second round pick, even if it was from the Kansas City Chiefs, you have to take that. That just makes sense for the Jets to go ahead and take that draft pick. But more likely they get a third round pick, which is, kind of on the fence. You can go ahead and trade him for that if you want. Aaron Glenn, Darren Mougey, they might decide that's what they want to go ahead and do. If you get something later than that, fourth, fifth round pick, definitely, slam the phone down. Do not trade Breece Hall for that. But if, we'll see. There are definitely going to be contract discussions when it comes to Breece Hall. And if he is looking for too much money in those contract discussions, that would make the New York Jets more motivated to move him.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it does impact with the contract situation, or the contract situation impacts the trade rumors and noise here. And look, I agree that if you do get a second round pick from the Chiefs, you got to take it because you're not going to get a high second round pick. Believing that just makes no sense, because the only way that happens is if a team that believes that they're able to win now but needs a better running back, for instance, a team like the Chiefs, but not the Chiefs because they have Patrick Mahomes, a team like maybe even Dallas, where it's like, all right, they trade for Breece Hall, and then for some reason things just go poorly, and it's just like a bad stroke of luck where a team that was expected to be good just flames out and the Jets get lucky on their draft pick. That's the only real situation that we'd see where the Jets ended up getting anything that's not a low second round pick for Breece Hall, is if a team just severely underperforms after trading for him. So most likely you wouldn't be, and I understand both sides of the argument to both trading him and keeping him, because you have to wonder if they're going to re-sign him. And look, Breece last season, you're right, a bit of a down year, and something I've said this about multiple players already. Last year feels a bit more excusable for down years because everything that could have went wrong last year for the Jets did, but still, it wasn't a bad year per se. He had 876 yards rushing with 5 touchdowns. It's not a terrible season. It's just not what we saw at Breece Hall the first 2 years. People were worried if he's running slower, situations like that. And the Jets do have 2 young second-year running backs in Braylon Allen, who got 334 yards on 92 attempts last season. He had 2 touchdowns. And then on top of that, Isaiah Davis, who had 30 rush attempts, 174 yards. That's 5.8 yards per attempt, which is solid, and a touchdown as well to go with it. So you have those two. I agree. If they were a 1A, 1B situation, I think Aaron Glenn's his offense could succeed with that, especially considering that Justin Fields is going to run the ball as well. Now, if you look at a guy like Jamaal Williams, who has been linked to the Jets by Orr here, the last time, and really the time in his career most, where Jamaal Williams got a ton of true attempts to be a running back who got a lot of touches, was his final year in Detroit, where he had over 1,000 rush yards. It's the only year he's had over 1,000 yards. I mean, it's one of 2 years where he's had over 600 rushing yards, and the only other one was the year before that where he had 601 rushing yards. He had 17 touchdowns. He was their goal line guy. And look, Williams, 29. He'll be 30 years old this season. He spent the last 2 years on the New Orleans Saints, and he just didn't get the ball a ton to begin with. I mean, last year only had 48 attempts for 164 yards, and it just was not a season where we saw Jamaal Williams get used very much. If the Jets did want to go out there and get a veteran who they think is a savvy guy who could help this team in a lot of ways, it would make sense for that running back position if you trade Breece Hall. Especially you got 2 young guys there. Bringing in an older guy who could step up and play very solid football does make some sense there, especially considering the Tanner Engstrand, Aaron Glenn, they were there when Jamaal Williams had that phenomenal season. So you could really look at that and kind of see why you would make a move like this. Williams did not get all the touches in the world with Detroit. He shared those with DeAndre Swift. So it was a situation where you look at everything. He would be an interesting pickup. If the Jets trade Breece Hall, I would not mind watching them pick up Jamaal Williams. I think outside of the fact that he is a good veteran to have around, he's been in both winning and losing situations. I think he'd be good for the Jets. He'd be an extension to the coaching staff. I also, and I think this goes for a lot of people, I love his personality. He has more fun than anyone out there. And I think for a Jets team that had the least amount of fun a professional sports team has ever had in history last year, I think it would be good to kind of have a guy who, if nothing else, even if he's not going to even at all replicate that year he had in Detroit, what he would do would be he'd be able to have a positive energy that the Jets, obviously you can never get enough of those guys.
So he would definitely be a fun guy. The reason why you bring in Jamaal Williams is if you're looking for a goal line running back. If you're looking for a guy like Braylon Allen, you bring in
Yeah,
Jamaal Williams.
that is
So
the thing.
this signing wouldn't make any sense to me. He already turned early April, already turned 30. So running backs on the wrong side of 30 are not what you want to invest in the National Football League. I absolutely hate the idea of picking up Jamaal Williams. He wouldn't fit. If we were going to go ahead and trade Breece Hall, we would need to bring in another running back. But I think we can go get some random UDFA rookie would be better than Jamaal Williams. I'd rather take the shot on a guy who could develop into something, not long term, but in 2 years could be a better player than Jamaal Williams. In 2 years, he's going to be out of the league for good. So, not interested in the Jamaal Williams signing. We already have Braylon Allen.
Okay, so let's play the hypothetical game, which I loved to walk into your room when we were in college and just ask you hypothetical questions that were likely not going to happen. And the limbless Jalen Brunson bobblehead is 3 of his 4 limbs have come off. He still has his DoorDash, so that's good. But he also is wondering, let's say the Jets were to sign a free agent running back who's not a UDFA, someone who's been around the block at least a bit. I'm not saying 30, I'm easily be 24, 25. Is there anyone that you would have interest in for the Jets to go and look at in this free agency period where things stand right now for the team?
So, yeah, I mean, the problem with that is I don't even know who's left. I know we picked up Donovan Edwards out of the University of Michigan. His, what are they called? His analytics are really, really poor. So I don't have a lot of hope that in Donovan Edwards, but Donovan Edwards would be the type of running back that you want to bring in to replace Breece Hall because he can run the ball and he has receiving upside, knows how to catch the football. That would be the type of guy that I was looking for. Honestly, I said if you were to trade Breece Hall, you'd bring in a UDFA who can catch the ball and run the ball, and that's exactly what Donovan Edwards is. So I'm kind of talking myself into him. Even if the analytics say he's not going to be successful, UDFA, pay him a couple $100,000 and call it a day. We'll see what he turns into.
I'm just going to read you off a list of some of these free agent running backs, and I would understand why you, me, and any other Jets fan wouldn't have a ton of interest. We have Jamaal Williams, who, again, he is kind of the replacement of Braylon Allen. I do like the vibe, though. I'll stand by that. Gus Edwards, Jeff Wilson, Nick Chubb, Naheem Miller-Hines, Amir Abdullah, who I didn't even know is still in the NFL, J.K. Dobbins, Chase Edmonds, JaMychal Hasty, D'Ernest Johnson, Cam Akers, Josh Kelly, Mike Boone, Donta Foreman. I didn't know he was still in the NFL. John Kelly, who sounds like an NYPD officer, Chris Evans, who's an actor, and Owen Wright, who I've never heard of.
I mean, I can't even find this list, so I don't know where you
Spotrac,
found this list.
baby!
I'm on Spotrac, and all it's showing me is the guys that are already signed.
There's a tab right next to it that just says available. Imagine it just came up and instead of that, it was just like a photo of you. Like, it just wasn't that at all. Like, it was just a photo of you there. It's like, hey, Matt, check Spotrac. And then I'm like, see, just look at my screen, and it's just Dutch Vanderland. All right, we don't need to still be recording this video. Guys, who do you want to see the Jets sign in free agency if they are to sign a running back or replace Breece Hall with, I should say? Who would you want to see them replace Breece Hall with if they do end up trading him? Do you think they should? Do you think they should even entertain it? Let us know in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Jets.